Yeah, welcome to yet another episode of using ConceptBase. The topic of this episode is to use object-specific graphical properties. So concept-based databases can be visualized graphically, and the shape of the nodes and links can be defined by so-called graphical types. But you can also make specific decorations to objects based on properties of these objects. And let's have a look at the first example here. It looks very simple. So we have a class employee, and yeah, all the instances look kind of differently. So they are all rectangles, but the outline here is red, and here it's black, and here the color is yellow, here the color is gray, and so forth. So the graphical properties that we are talking about are line color, the maybe the label here, the background color. Yeah, that's what we are looking at here. And if we load this definition here of this object, we see that there are some rules here that assign some graphical type. So if the salary is smaller than 1000, it gets this color. It's kind of a gray color. If it's greater than 1000, it's this yellow color. If the employee works for a department and the budget of the department is greater than this, then the line color is red. And whenever an employee has a department, then it has a thicker line width. It's 3 pixels instead of just 1 or 2 pixels. So, for example, here this Mary is thicker than this line. So let's have a look at an instance here. So Anna is having a salary of 1700, so that will be yellow background color. She works, the line color is red, so she probably works for a department that has a budget more than 20,000. So that's the first example. The second example is a Patronet example. Patronets have so-called places and transitions. Places have a number of tokens in them, and transitions basically take tokens from the input places and move them to the output places. So the definition of that is this. So that's the complete definition of this model. So places are sending token to transitions, and they have a certain number of tokens in them, which is a number. Transition send tokens to places, like this is a produces token link. M is a function that returns you the number of tokens in a place. So this is the input parameter, and you get the number back, which is the marks of this place, the number of tokens in this place. Input place for a given transition is any place that sends a token. So these are two input places of T1, and these two are input places of T2. Enable transition means that all the input places have at least one token. So this is enabled because all the input places have more than one token. This is also enabled, but T3 is not enabled. There's nothing in there. Yeah, we will not go into all the details of this representation of Patronet, just to say that firing and transition is defined by an active rule. So if a transition is enabled, then the connected places are updated depending on the number of incoming and outgoing links between the place and transition. Yeah, that completely defines what is done with the execution of a Patronet. So let's now have a look at this object-specific properties. So these are the rules for the labels of places. So if it has no token, if the marks is 0, then it gets a blank label. So these one here are examples. Otherwise, the number of tokens become the label of this place. And that's how object-specific properties are used here. This is a graph where the enable transitions can be actually clicked, and then the transition will be fired, so-called click action. So we can do that. So number of tokens reduced here by 1. Let's fire this one here. Then we have 1 token in each of these input places. So this becomes enabled. We can fire it. Then the token disappears and 1 token appears here. And we can fire that one, and then the token is moved here. So that's the use of object-specific graphical properties. I will put the link to this web page in the description of this video. If you look at the documentation of ConceptBase, it tells you how to configure your desktop such that the graph file is automatically started when you click on it. So note that all the definitions are contained in the graph file. You only have to click it to run it. Thank you, and bye-bye.